Now we discuss few example on the event of discontinuation of the business. Here the example is that Messrs. Ravon and Company, a partnership firm, decided to dissolve the partnership firm. Now, when a partnership firm dissolve its business, then that firm will be ceases to be a taxable person. Here, the provision of section 7 subsection 1a is that any goods forming part of the asset of any business carried on by such firm is deemed to be a supply by that firm in the course of or furtherance of the business immediately before he ceases to be a taxable person. That means immediately before its dissolution. Now here, when the stock of that partnership firm are being transferred to the partner, then taken over of such goods by the partner will be considered as supply of goods as per section 7 subsection 1a. Here we have two exceptions also. If the business is transferred as a going concern to other person, and if the business is carried on by the personal representative who is deemed to be a taxable person, then only such activities, such event are not to be treated as supply of goods, and then there will be no GST. But in that case, it is to be taken as supply of goods and GST will be there. Next example is that Mr. Raj, being an owner of a shop, is a registered person under GST. He was decided to close the business, and at the time of deregistration, he has the closing stock of rupees 50 lakh. We know that at the time of deregistration, if there is any business asset, it will be taken as deemed supply of the goods that is to be made for the purpose or for the furtherance of the business. So here Mr. Raj is liable to pay GST on the amount of the stock that is being held by him at the time of deregistration. If input tax credit on that item has already been enjoyed. So here the supplies made during the last taxable period plus stock in hand of rupees 15 lakh during the deregistration is to be taken as the consideration on which he is liable to pay GST. Now here the amount of supply is to be taken as rupees 15 lakh. Mr. Raj has to pay GST on rupees 15 lakh. However, Mr. Raj is not required to pay GST on the closing stock of 15 lakh, provided only he has not to liable to pay GST on rupees 15 lakh if he does not claim input tax credit at the time of input tax credit that on the amount of purchase of that stock. That means he is not liable to pay GST. He is not required to pay GST on the closing stock of rupees 15 lakh, provided input tax credit was not availed on such stock. But in the other cases, he is liable to pay GST on the amount of stock, on the amount of business asset that is being held by him at the time of deregistration. And at the time of deregistration, the business asset that is being held by such person is to be taken as supply, deemed supply, that is to be made for the purpose or furtherance of the business. And on that ground, Mr. Raj is liable to pay GST on the amount of the closing stock of rupees 15 lakh. But if he does not avail input tax credit on that amount of closing stock earlier, then he will not liable to pay GST. Now the next example is relating to renting of immovable property. We know that renting of immovable property is to be taken as supply of services, so there will be GST on that item. First, renting of vacant land to a start fund for rupees 1,50,000. It is to be taken as supply of services, since renting of land is to be made to the start fund with a consideration, so it will be taken as supply of services, and here GST is to be imposed on the amount of consideration. Now, second example is that leasing of the vacant land to poultry farm. Here the leasing of the land is to be taken as supply of services, but here it is to be taken as exempted supply, since the land is leased to a poultry farm. Here poultry farm is to be taken as engaged in the activity of the agriculture, and since they are involved in the activity of the agriculture, so here the supply that is to be made on the ground of supplying vacant land to the poultry farm is to be taken as exempted supply, and since it is a exempted supply, here no GST will be there. Now here there is a example relating the construction services. We know, as per the provision of section 7 subsection 1a, for the construction service, construction of the complex, construction of a building or civil structure, it will be taken as supply of services. It will be taken as supply of services when the consideration is received wholly or partly from the client, from the customer, except where the entire consideration has been received after issuance of completion certificate where required, or by the competent authority, or after its first occupation, whichever is earlier. So here the construction of a complex is to be taken as supply of services. Here it is a taxable, it is to be taken as a taxable event, and on the amount of any advance, amount of any consideration that is to be paid before issuance of completion certificate is to be treated as the amount of consideration on which GST is to be imposed. Now here builder obtained completion certificate from GHMC, this is the competent authority, and the completion certificate is taken on 31st March. So after 31st March, if any consideration is to be paid, if full consideration is to be paid by the customer, then there will be no GST. But before issuance of the completion certificate, if any consideration is received from any customer, that will be liable for GST. Here first floor occupied by Mr. A on 1st February, entire consideration received on 1st February. So here no GST, because occupied by Mr. A on 1st February, entire consideration is received on 1st February. No GST will be there, because